Hello and welcome to the Vita Group Sustainable Podcast Series with myself, Mike Murray, Chief Innovation Officer of the Vita Group.
And me, Natalie Watson, Group Head of Sustainability. Together, we're going to be unravelling some of the common misconceptions of foam and actually tackling how it can be an enabler to the circular economy.
So join us, along with some of our colleagues and guests, as we explore the world of sustainability in PU foam.
Hello, we're here this afternoon to discuss life cycle analysis, and I'm here with Julie and Sam. Do you want to just introduce yourselves?
Yeah, I'm Julie Walker. I'm the Technical Manager at Vita Foam in Middleton.
I'm Sam Hill. I'm an Innovation Manager based at Vita Accrington.
So I was going to start the conversation with a boring question, but I've got a much more fun way of doing this. There's a little true or false game for you both. So I'm going to read out a couple of statements and you just need to reflect on whether you believe they are true or false. Not too hard to do, don't worry, it's not a competition. First one, foam cannot be recycled.
That's false. I can answer that one really firmly. It can be recycled, and it is recycled.
Fantastic. Foam can only be downcycled.
False. We've demonstrated it on the pilot plant with some of the recent technologies and innovations we've made. So we can make foam just as robust as it would be from a virgin-based polyol system. So
based on that response, foam cannot be a closed-loop circular solution.
That's false true. And again, we're doing it at Vita.
Vita have got all angles covered is what you're saying here, right?
Yep, we're certainly doing that anyway.
Well, let's get into a bit more of a spin then here. All natural materials are more environmentally friendly than foam.
false.
And
Why?
proven by LCA calculations that we've carried out.
It's a question of what is environmentally friendly. It's that question. So we can't just say they are all environmentally friendly. We need to be more specific. To say environmentally friendly is nowhere near specific enough to give anyone any information.
Love that, Sam. Foam has poor responsiveness. Now, I'm not so sure why this is important for foam, but apparently there's claims that it has poor responsiveness. So what's that?
I'm not sure who designed the question. I'm not sure it's technically a term for foam. It's certainly not a British standard, but it is responsive. So it's responsive in lots of different ways. It can either be high resilient and then it's responsive and you get a significant ball rebound from it, or it can be low resilience and you can sink into it and have a nice comfortable sleep.
A good night's sleep.
Yeah.
Well, that's what we all want, isn't it? And then just to round it off, foam can only be made using fossil fuel derived carbon.
False. We demonstrate it, so there are some biomaterials available now today. It's by no means exhaustive currently, but the processes are being developed now. So there's press releases almost every quarter of a new technology or a new process being developed. So, yeah, it's probably a half and half answer.
Yeah.
Not yet, but soon will be. ...
Yeah. Let's to be continued.
It's shown it's technically possible. And I think that's the journey we're on. There's lots of misconceptions around foam. I think we see them and read them and hear them all the time. And I think our roles is to really try and put the science-based data behind those so that we can have real concrete facts rather than dealing in fiction.
So with those answers in mind then, and the common misconceptions that foam has no place being talked about alongside sustainability, it absolutely goes part and parcel, doesn't it, with sustainability? And you see that, Julie?
Yeah, I mean, foam's lightweight, isn't it? And it's durable, and it's cost effective. So those are the reasons that it's used, and it's used extensively in furniture and should be used extensively in furniture. It's comfortable. There's nothing that is as comfortable as foam in a product, and it's an enabler for designers because they can design any product they want using foam. You can cut it, you can profile it, you can drill holes in it to make it more breathable. So I think our job is probably to overturn those negative perceptions associated with it, and to make sure that we can get that message through to the designers and to the end users.
And you've been with Vita for a long time, so I don't think many people know foam as well as you.
Yeah.
Has foam been on this journey? Because for me, as a newcomer to the industry, it seems so versatile as a product. You can just play with it, right? And it does so many different things. You find that?
Yeah, I mean, it's been a long time, a long journey to get to this sustainability point. When I first started, it wasn't really in question, and it wasn't within the scope of anybody. But I think as the years have progressed, we've realised that we need to do this to sustain our product for the future, to get on this journey. And we've been really fortunate, I think, that we've had people who've come into the business who've seen this vision and been able to give us the ability to move forward along this journey and to be able to take the steps that we need to take to make sure that our products are fit for purpose for the future.
Absolutely. And Sam, you're relatively new to the business. You've been there for a few years now, though, but you've come from a different industry coming into foam industry. Is there similarities with the industries you've come from?
Yes and no. There's a similarity in that the material that we work with is a polymer. It's a plastic, and the similarity there is that people assume a plastic is a plastic, that they're all equivalent. So there's similar mindsets around the products. There's obviously a lot of mindset around replacing plastics packaging, for example, because, reasons. And they then sort of move that same thinking onto our product and look at replacing this for an alternative. And there's similarities in the way that people are biased towards this aspect of just replacing plastic for anything else at any cost. But it's very different in that we're producing a different product here. We're producing a product with an incredibly long lifetime, and durability is perhaps one of the key considerations we should make when we're looking at our products, especially because we make one product and it'll be in use for decades.
Yeah.
And that is perhaps one of the most valuable ways we can use the resources that are available to us. Use it for a very long time before it has to be recycled or treated in any other way afterwards. You don't want to replace a polyurethane for something which will last half as long, because then it just flies in the face of the sustainable thinking.
And I think that's the most interesting thing. I think there's so much of a focus on the recyclability of products, but that goes away from the durability side of things. And I think you're absolutely right. You take the paper, for example, I guess. It can be easily recycled, but actually after about 7 times it turns into single use. So there's only a certain amount of times that it can be recycled. Foam isn't like that, or not that we know of yet. Anyway, in terms of those life cycles are so long because durability is so key.
Yeah, I think one of the topics when you talk about recycling is this sort of number of cycles that a material can withstand. So in a foam, if you imagine that aspect, 2 or 3 recycling loops would outlive me. I might not last very long, that's what it might be saying. I might only have 10 more years left. But that's the key thing. You only have to recycle this thing once and it will be handed down to the next generation. Whereas something like packaging, the fast-moving goods kind of industry, things will be recycled and produced within a year. So we just have to try and make sure that our customers understand that difference, and that when we're talking about recycling, it's on a different time scale, and we've got to look at our impacts over a much longer lifespan than perhaps what we're used to thinking in just day-to-day conversations.
And you mentioned about bringing customers on this journey. How do you do that, Julie? I mean, I know you work really closely to our customers, especially in the bedding sector.
Yeah. I think you have to bring them on this journey with you. So from our point of view, we can make foams that are more sustainable. We can make them from recycled materials, and we can make them from biopolyols. But unless people buy them, then our journey towards net zero is going to be a very difficult one. So it's really important that we communicate with both our customers, and eventually onto the end user. And that's something that we've really started to try to do over the last few years, is because you can almost skip over sometimes the intermediate customer, and you can get to the end retailer who have more pressure actually to ensure that they are following a net zero path themselves, and then they're able to drag that through the supply chain. And I think that's the way forward actually, in order to get us to a point where we can achieve our targets, is to speak to people further down the line and ensure that these products are being dragged through the supply chain.
It's such a great point, Julie, because I think that it's less fashionable to talk about joining the dots. Mm-hmm. We love to talk about the innovation of getting there, and I know that clean energy, for example, has been a exponential growth, but it's unless we have the infrastructures to get that electricity generation to the grids and accessible to, you know, Joe Blogs on the street. But it's the same with this, right? We can have all the innovation, the product pipeline, and we certainly have such an exciting product pipeline coming through Vita. We absolutely need to turn on that demand, don't we? Yeah. You know, and talking to customers, Mike, that, you know, we've done across the group really, both technical and comfort related. But can you see the customer change?
Yeah, I think customers are very much on the same journey with us at different stages. Certainly the ones that I know, you know, Julie and Sam have done the same, where we've been involved in workshops to really get into the detail of how our innovations can help you know, drive down their long-term, you know, CO2 impacts. And we have the technologies in the pipeline to help them do that. And actually, I think it's been said recently that actually foam could be an enabler to lowering CO2. So it's not the question of what sustainability got to do with foam. It's like, you know, foam can actually help you on that journey. And I know there's a customer that Julie's had recently that was actually looking to design foam out for different, you know, spring and textile solutions. But, you know, after, you know, a several-day workshop here on site, they actually introduced originally our Origin range, and now they're moving to our Orbis range. So I think it does show you how that, you know, that connectivity really works and partnership.
And for our listeners, can you just explain and bring to life what Orbis, Origin are? Julie, if you take Orbis.
Yeah, so Orbis is using recycled mattresses, the foam from recycled mattresses, to regenerate the raw material that then we can reuse in our products. So that is when you talked earlier and said, can foam be circular? And I said, yes, and we're doing it. That's exactly what I meant. So we're taking these mattresses, or people are taking these mattresses on our behalf, deconstructing them, and then we're regenerating the raw material, which is being used both on our plant here in Middleton and at several of our facilities around Europe to remake polyurethane, virgin polyurethane foam.
And that process makes post-consumer foam a valuable resource to our future, isn't it?
For sure, yeah. Post-consumer foam can be recycled, and it is being recycled through that process. And that's our brand name, Orbis, and it's really a cutting-edge technology, not just for Vita, but for the foam industry in general.
And then Origin, Sam.
Yes, Origin is a brand name which covers our foams with biomaterials containing, and it's typically biopolyols. So polyols have been manufactured for a long time, decades, using vegetable oils as their source. So they've been sort of sunflower, rapeseed, they've been soy-based, but all these are different chemistries, and that's how we have to immediately think of those. So they're a fantastic idea, but they bring a different type of chemistry to the table. So, you know, people would like to just work from nature as much as possible, but we have to understand the chemistry. But there are these materials available today. We are using them into some of our grades across Europe. They're available to buy, and for people who want, you know, bio-based materials in their products, they are here. You know, they're not unheard of. There's more and more developments in the industry to try and understand that chemistry more, to develop that chemistry to increase the addition levels. So they're typically used at a proportion of our addition levels. But by working with these suppliers, these manufacturers, we can improve the chemistries and really improve how we can incorporate those into our formulations. Yeah.
And in your opinion, would you class these foams as uncompromised? So these foams with the bio feedstocks and the circular feedstocks can do more or less what the original foam can do.
Yeah, that's what we ensure. So we make sure that the addition levels are such that none of the physical properties are compromised, because there is absolutely no point in putting very high levels of bio and renewable resource if the physical properties are compromised, because then you just have to remake sooner and the durability can be compromised. But like Sam said, we're increasing the levels constantly of those biomaterials that can be added whilst not compromising any of the physical properties. And we're really proud of what we've achieved, I think, over the years, and continue to do so.
And it's that continue to do so that really excites me, because I know what's in our innovation kind of team and the capabilities we have there. I just think that foam just seems to be one of these materials that is so susceptible to innovative change. The way we tweak it, the way we can increase feedstocks.
I think
it's gone on such a journey.
Sorry to interrupt you.
No,
I'm very bad at interrupting.
No, you're on flow, go.
I get very excited. Before I forget.
You crack on.
Thing. You know, we've got to keep in mind to improve sustainability, we can just improve the chemistry that we do anyway. And I think that's something which we have to also try and highlight, that, you know, we don't just sit back on decades old chemistry. You know, our suppliers are working on new materials, virgin materials still, but they have a lower impact inherently because of what they're doing, because of how they're making their different products, providing us with different blends of properties that we can apply into our foams, which can allow them to be more durable, it can allow them to be lower in density, it can allow them these higher variability in properties than what we could do years ago. So it, like Mike says, then it gives us then more potential use for polyurethane that there wasn't before. And polyurethane's fantastic at polyurethane, sorry. I said it with an F.
I thought you were saying fame. It is quite famous.
It's finding its way into uses which weren't used before. It's incredibly lightweight, you know, is one of the key properties that it has. So if we can displace something which was solid, not lower density as it was before, the whole composite becomes more sustainable because it's using less material for the same end result, I suppose. Don't know if I've explained that quite as well, but...
No, I love it, and I'm on board, because the durability side of things, it means that just because what foam is surrounded in has reached its end of life, foam potentially could go into something else because it is so durable and actually live a second life without even kind of changing any property whatsoever. And I think that is, from a waste hierarchy perspective, a wonderful scenario to be able to live through, isn't it, Mike?
It is, and you know, Rebond technology, or Novus, which is the sustainability brand that we use for that now, has been around a long time. You know, it's been since the 60s that we started looking at how can we make good use of this post-industrial trim. But you know, now it's been for many years. You know, 100% of all of our trim goes to valuable engineered products, and it allows you to make foams that you couldn't make any other way. I think we're only just beginning to see where that technology could take us into other products and giving the design engineer another toolkit to work with that actually has some really good sustainability credentials.
And the future just looks so promising, doesn't it, for this particular material when you think about that, what its capabilities are and what different markets actually this material could disrupt, you know, with existing materials in there.
Yeah, I think we've been doing this for years, like Mike says. We've been reconstituting foam. We've been making use of every single bit of the foam that we make for a very long time. So anything that we make on the plant that's non-prime, that is rebonded and recycled. Any scrap that our customers generate, we take back and we recycle and we rebond it and we make it into a new product. We've been doing that since 1980, partly just commercially.
Yeah.
But now it's, hey, it's recycled. You know, this is what we should be doing. But it's something that actually we've just always done.
And what type of products does it typically go into? What markets?
It goes into lots of different products. Traditionally, it used to go into a lot of gym mats. So if you take your kids to the gym, there's rip mats there. You can see bits of rebond popping out. Very high durability products like things like bus seats, you know, bar stool top as well. But more and more, it's being used because it's a recycled product through lots and lots of different applications. So in mattresses, quite often now you'll see a slice of rebond because the value that it brings to the mattress is that it's pretty much zero in terms of its carbon content because it's a waste stream essentially. So we're bringing these rebonded products into lots of different areas that they weren't being used in before as a small slice and reducing the overall carbon footprint of that particular item.
And from a sustainability perspective, being more efficient in your manufacturing process is, like you say, traditionally that was for cost out or commercial benefits, but now it's fulfilling sustainability credentials like recycled content and a lower CO2. And I think that lower CO2 part has really only been a recent development for us to actually quantify it with real science-based facts from our life cycle analysis model, isn't it?
I think we're almost putting a different, looking at this sort of issue under a different lens. For many years, we looked at everything based on the pounds, you know, the value that we got from this. So we dealt with this material because we could sell it again. Fantastic. We can make some money from a business sense. It's a great thing to do. But we almost just need to look at it all again and work with our customers to help people realise that this benefit that we both found from an economic perspective was a sustainability win at the same time. Some of the discussions I like to try and have is to remind people the work that we have been doing over the last 10 years on this product range, on our partnerships with different customers, where we work on reducing thickness, we work on reducing density. These things were done from an economical perspective, but accidentally we've been making improvements in sustainability. But you know, that's sort of a generic way of saying it. But now we've got the ability to look at this data more scientifically and look at validating. You know, this is where we were 10 years ago when we were at this particular density, this thickness. Look at what we're doing today, which is what we've been doing. We've been developing this anyway, but let's celebrate that as a fact. Yeah. And I think that's perhaps a way that we can help people understand our relationship to sustainability with foam, to remind people that we've been doing this anyway, and to try and show people that we've been doing it well together. We're just now looking at it with sustainability as the focus, not just the pound coins that remain in your bank balance at the end of the transaction.
Wow, that was great, wasn't it? So many topics about the misconceptions of foam. I found it really fascinating that Sam basically was calling out that we have to understand the impact of all materials.